Hey God, may your will be done. Amen. You know what's so funny is I used to get in trouble for this, burning the hemp. And now I keep getting suspended and for I guess, but no one's called me anti-Semitic yet. I don't think they will, but they could, because I agreed with Kanye. And that's been the controversy this year with free speech. So Kanye is now taking over Parler. Elon Musk has taken over Twitter, and Donald Trump has created Truth Social. And I have my own app too, but you can only get it on Android so far, called Sling Snap, which is I host it in Iceland, so it's a free speech app, so that I could feel like I have free speech, but I can't get it on Apple yet. Okay, so here we are. I'm Pastor Craig X. Welcome to Temple 420. I don't know if you've seen any other episode before, but I teach the Bible, the Old and New Testament. We burn hemp as a sacrament in our temple, and that used to be really controversial, but now it's not a big deal. Now free speech is the big controversial thing in America. I'm going to court January 7th to protect my church here. They're trying to say that because I am not a 501c3 that I'm not a real church, or I can't be tax exempt. So we are a for-profit church, so if you want to buy one of our NFTs, go to OpenSea. We haven't sold any yet, but I know one day they'll be popular and famous. They're shitty NFTs in that they're serial numbered, and I know most NFTs are like each one is slightly different. And I just didn't have the money to do that. I had to pay this huge amount of tax. They overtaxed me, but I'm fighting them. So there's a challenge every time. I was arrested earlier this year for visiting Tim Pool. Anyway, those charges were dropped, and now I'm pressing charges against Tim as soon as I can afford to head over to Maryland. Last episode, we really didn't take out the Bible and quote anything, but what I've spent the last 7 days watching the narrative change, which has been really kind of exciting with Elon Musk just taking over Twitter. You already see a big difference. I had got striked on here on YouTube, and instead of just taking it like I did last year, I was just like, I'm done taking it. And so I wrote him a nasty letter to fight back. And instead of like in the past, I did the same thing trying to be polite. And they kept the strikes. I never got a strike taken away. But this year, I was like, F that, you guys work for the CCP, blah, blah, blah. You're just discriminating against us Americans, and I have 10 people that listen to me. What the hell are you thinking? I'm taking you to court. I'm hiring lawyers. I'm fighting for my free speech. And they took the strikes away. And I was like, oh. So sometimes I think we have to fight back. We can't just take it. And that's what's nice about seeing Elon Musk come right in and firing those censoring jerks who are working with the government to censor us, the people. Now, I had some friends when I was like, man, they keep censoring me. They're like, well, it is a private company. You know, it's not like it's the government censoring you. It's not illegal if it's a private company censoring you. I got so frustrated because I knew that it was partially financed by In-Q-Tel, which is the CIA's venture capitalist arm that invests in technology so that they can have an interest in the information and have an influence on the cutting-edge technology companies. I mean, it makes sense. That's why I think that group I may have mentioned a minute or two ago may also be involved in illegal drug dealing. And then one guy recently came out and exposed how the music industry, people who invested in the music industry in certain types of rap, also invested in the private prison industry, and they wanted people to engage in more risky behavior. So they published music and promoted music that would encourage people to break the law and fill their jails. Conspiracy theory or reality? As it's turning out, now that we have more and more free speech, just in the last week, since Elon Musk took over Twitter, and it was funny because Donald Trump trolled everyone because Elon Musk was born in South Africa. So he's like, I'm so glad to see there's an African American who really supports free speech. Just waiting for people to bust his chops on that. But no one took the bait. So since Elon Musk has taken over Twitter, there's a whole new dialogue taking place on Twitter where liberals now have to put up with challenges on their ideas, and to the news as well. And you've even seen it on YouTube. And it's most exemplified by the fact that Nancy Pelosi, the third person in power, her husband, Paul Pelosi. Ron, it was my dad's former business partner. Ron Pelosi, my dad says, a super nice guy. And he didn't even like how... anyway, I don't want to get into what Ron, whatever. We lived in Northern California, and it's a small world, you know, when you're involved in politics and business. And you end up knowing a lot of people that may have interesting things happen to them and may move into positions of power and influence. And throughout your life, you may know more and less people that happens to. Paul Pelosi was attacked. Paul Pelosi is Nancy Pelosi's husband. He was attacked at his house. Supposedly, the story takes two separate turns now. On the mainstream media, they're saying he was attacked by a Trump-supporting person who was inspired by Trump and January 6th to attack Nancy Pelosi. He was looking for her, showed up at the house in his underwear with a hammer at 2 a.m, broke the bottom seal of a French door window, crawled in through the 12 inches in his underwear, and said, "Where's Nancy? Where's Nancy?" And it's interesting that even some mainstream news, so last night Tucker Carlson took apart this story a bit, because on YouTube for the past week and on Twitter, and even Elon Musk started this himself because, oh, my mom is calling. I'm going to hold on 1 second, guys, while I get my mom's call. Okay. Talk to my mom. Everything's good. And I have no idea what I was talking about other than censorship and how things have really changed this week. That's all I can remember was the theme of where I was going. So, the Paul Pelosi story, I think that's where I was before, the Paul Pelosi story. It's one of the biggest news stories in the media today, and there's two ways to look at it. Trump caused Paul Pelosi to be attacked. Hillary Clinton said that. MSNBC said that. Basically, all the mainstream media is pushing. It's Trump's fault. Paul Pelosi got attacked. They wanted to kill Nancy Pelosi. These people were inspired by Trump and his supporters. People like me. Now, on the other side, now that there's actually some free speech, I've been surprised. Every time you see a mainstream news story, and I've checked out a couple of them, they're like, Paul Pelosi was attacked by these Trump-supporting blah, blah, blah. now you look at the comments underneath, they're like, are you kidding? It was his gay lover. We know what's going on. You guys are lying. We don't believe you. Like, comment after comment after. I mean, this may be censored right now here for misinformation. But I don't know how much longer these Chinese government is going to be able to get away with influencing our big tech to censor us against the First Amendment, against our religious freedom, against our free right to free speech and to think how we want. And it really has been election manipulation, which is being proven right now, that Twitter was used to manipulate the election, Facebook is used to manipulate the election, and that some of these companies have been paid for by organizations within our own government. Now, who are the Hey! No, I don't even want to say it so much because I know my shit will be censored. That's how crazy these algorithms are. They can hear what we're saying, and so you have to sneak it in. Like, oh, I see. Oh, my eye. Eh? What are you? So I'm joking, but it's really become like we live in Soviet Russia here in the free supposed freest country in the world, the United States of America. So prior to this last 7 days, this last week, before Elon Musk took over Twitter, there's been a real effort to censor the truth. And the problem is people have been lied to and believed lies so much that they can't tell the difference between a lie and the truth. Now, this is the truth, okay? I'm in a 200-year-old building, and it will be gone one day, and this word will still be here, because this word is eternal. So everyone you know will pass away one day, but this word will never pass away. And I had it to Jonathan. I don't know why I had it on this particular page. So one of the things that the Bible, people just don't believe the Bible. They think, oh, it's crazy, it's so old, it can't be true. But there's a reason that it's been so popular for so long, is because it is true. And one of the ways in our whole ministry here is the end times prophecy. We're focusing on the book of Revelation. And I'm now focused on Ben Shapiro, Candace Owens, Kanye West, my buddy Evan, and all these other people that have been off the mission, seemingly off the mission, but not really. Because what we are talking about is the end times. We're talking about Evan being a Jewish guy who becomes a believer in the Messiah, okay, that as prophesied. This is the spiritual reawakening. Every time someone believes in Jesus, Jesus is actually reborn. His spirit is reborn within them. The breath, the fear, hopefully, goes out of them, and they try to act more like him on this world. Act without fear of death and working to help other people. Loving each other as you would love yourself. Simple as that. Now, because people have been lied to so much, and I kind of woke up to this early because my birthday is November 22nd, the day that John Kennedy was murdered. So I've always paid attention to the conspiracy theories surrounding John F. Kennedy. Did Oswald act alone? It appears to me from my research that George H.W. Bush, who recently died, was somehow at Dallas and may have been involved in the coup that took place. And it really was a coup because Lee Harvey Oswald could not have killed President Kennedy. He may have known the people that killed President Kennedy, but he himself didn't pull the trigger. He even said so before they murdered him. He's like, I'm just a patsy. They probably scrubbed that from the internet too. So, George W. Bush's father, George H.W. Bush, who was actually the head of the CIA at one point, was in Skull and Bones, just like John Kerry and George W. Bush and a lot of other people in positions of power. He seems to have been involved somehow with the CIA, without the CIA, with organized crime. I'm so far removed. I've listened to the conspiracy theories. I've studied it. But I still wasn't there. Can't tell you what happened. But I have seen other conspiracies unfold within my own lifetime. Watergate, for example, which they name all conspiracies after. Iran Gate, everything Gate. Why a gate? Because of the Hotel Watergate. And the break-in, which may have been done by the CIA also, or with the help of this, shit I just said. All right, well, hopefully I don't get censored. Anyways, you should be allowed to have an opinion in this world. And nobody listens to me anyways. So, why are they censoring me? What kind of threat am I? So anyways, conspiracies. So we get into this stuff. Now, 9/11, the conspiracy of these two buildings, these three buildings, World Trade Tower 1, 2, and 7, all three buildings being brought down by two planes. It seems as if the towers were wired for explosions. Some people say it was wired by the dancing Israelis, that they had an art exhibition in there and they were bringing in boxes and they've shown some kind of proof of these people being in the building and maybe having access to the building at strange hours or different locations. So all three buildings needed to be rigged to be blown because they did seem to collapse in on themselves at near the speed of gravity, as you would see in a normal implosion. And sometimes in the old videos you see firemen discussing, oh, it was like a pancake, it was like boom, 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 like one of those controlled demolitions. And you're like, oh, maybe it was. Even President Trump himself said those buildings were designed not to fall down even after being hit by an airplane. And he would know, he's in the construction business. So the question then became, and I, when it happened, was an Alex Jones fan because I had known him from Public Access TV. We were all on Public Access together. And this is in the 1990s. Suddenly it's 2001 and the planes come down. And I'm like, Alex Jones is off his rocker. There's no way 9/11 was an inside job. It just couldn't be. And then over the next 4 or 5 years, I listened to Alex Jones on and off. Not as big a fan as I had been. It was hard to find Alex Jones back in the 90s. You had to like buy a tape or hear him on Public Access. It became easier once the internet came around, and I actually started listening to him on a regular basis because his analysis of the news seemed to make more sense to me. And some of the things he was saying were going to happen ended up happening, whether it was a week later, a year later, or 5 years later. He was very prescient about the news. And he always says, I've got the papers, I read the papers. And so he's always reading white papers and studying. Oh, my pillow's being pushed down because of the sign on it. It looks awkward in the picture. Where is that? This pillow is pushed down. Oh, it's the arm of the chair. The arm of the chair. That's why it's lower. Okay. I'm always concerned about the visuals. So anyways, there's a meme. Alex Jones was right again. And because my birthday was on November 22nd, I always became very suspicious of the Oswald acted alone conspiracy, or there's no conspiracy, we caught the guy. He just happened to be murdered days later on live television. So when, I think it was 2005, maybe it was 2008, I don't remember, but somehow I saw the movie Loose Change, and I thought, oh my God, Alex Jones was right. Because Alex Jones called it as a conspiracy the very first day. And I'm like, how could he know? But now looking back at all the footage and the way people put it together, it seems obvious. However, the internet barely worked back then. We were still on dial up. And it took forever to download anything. I remember finally seeing a picture of the explosion coming out of one of the Twin Towers. And it took like an hour to download one photo back in 2001. People have no idea how slow the internet was back then. So that's why it wasn't used as much. But we saw what had happened, and we immediately went to the gas station to fill up our trucks. And there was lines of people at the gas station, and we just believed, oh, we're under attack, and everything the mainstream media said was true. Alex Jones was crazy. This isn't a false flag. And then years later, someone was saying that we should ban conspiracy theories from the internet. They said we should ban the Kennedy conspiracy, that Oswald didn't act alone. And I'm like, that's true. Why are they saying we should ban that? We should ban 9/11. Oh, and that's what made me start looking into Alex Jones's and Loose Change and those guys finding out 9/11 was true. And they wanted to ban the flat earth theory and the fact that we never went to the moon. And I'm like, I saw we went to the moon with my own eyes when I was a kid. It's one of my earliest memories. My dad bought a color television, and we had like a moon landing watching party at our house or something. And I can just remember my dad saying, you're witnessing what's equivalent to Christopher Columbus landing in the New World. When you're an adult, you'll probably be going to the moon all the time, like flying to San Francisco to LA. Not quite there yet, but it took a while for people to start coming to the New World more often after Christopher Columbus as well. So, but I don't think it's true. I don't think we really went to the moon in '69, or if we did, there's more technology in your phone right here than we used to go to the moon. More computing power in your phone than NASA had in 1969. Speed, storage power, all that. So it seems as if the moon landing was faked on television for propaganda purposes, but no one really wants to admit that, because even our enemies, seems like as if it's something to be able to hold above someone, I don't know. But no one's really challenged it, and everyone who does come and speak out against it, especially like an athlete like who's controlled by money, like Stephen Curry, he was on a radio show. He's like, I don't think the moon landing was real, and like he was just shut down in a minute. Like, oh, you're gonna lose millions in endorsements. You better shut up and toe the party line. And now we learn more and more. Everything the mainstream media says is fake news. So this Paul Pelosi narrative, and so people would have a hard trouble telling the difference between the truth and a lie. They're more easily fooled by a lie. When you're fooled by one lie, then you get fooled by another lie, and you start to accept all these lies. Well, it made me question, is the earth flat? Why do they call it sea level if water always finds its level? We even use water inside a level to find level. So it's definitely questionable. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I don't have a satellite, but it's made me look into the whole flat Earth theories, and some of the people have reasonable things to say. And it should be looked into further. Why not? Why should we just accept anything? If that's science, there's no such thing as settled science. We should always question it and test it. So, Paul Pelosi, he got beat up by Trump supporters. And because people have so much trouble telling the difference between a lie and a truth, they can't tell this is true. But because our free speech is coming back, people are questioning it more. So Hillary Clinton wrote, blaming Trump supporters. Elon Musk wrote, I'm not so sure you should jump to conclusions or if that's so true. And he linked to an article from France that said Paul Pelosi's gay lover and he got in a fight over drugs, and that's what was going on. Now, because Elon Musk is one of the richest, most famous people in the world, that's one of the ways this theory has spread. And just the fact that there's free speech again on Twitter means that they're not taking people down for suggesting that to potentially be true. No one's saying for sure Paul Pelosi is a homosexual who goes out trolling gay bars every time his wife's in Washington and he's home alone. But they're not releasing the body cam footage from the police, nor are they releasing the footage from their house, which would clear up the conspiracy instantly. And now Fox News, somewhat mainstream media, the #1 news channel, cable news channel in America, had Tucker Carlson, one of their #1 anchors, hosts, I don't know what you call it, opinion person, say that it's questionable, and he suggested what the rumors were. This would never have happened if the deep state people, the media, and the politicians who lie to us on a daily basis were in control of the message. If they were in control of the message, you would only hear, it was a Trump supporter. But because they're not in control of the message anymore, we've now seen pictures of this guy's house. He lives in a bus with a Black Lives Matter banner in the window, a rainbow flag. Okay, it's not my family. So anyways, it's not a Trump supporter who attacked Paul Pelosi. We don't know who he is or why he did this, but there's speculation that he was having a homosexual affair with Nancy Pelosi's husband, and they got in a fight, and that these two men in their underwear somehow grabbed a hammer and started going at each other, and Paul Pelosi, the older of the two gentlemen, ended up with a cracked skull. So we are praying for his quick and speedy recovery. Will they fake his death? Make it a conspiracy, make him disappear because he's probably going to be in trouble for working with the Chinese. Who knows what the future holds. But all I know is I'm glad free speech is back in America. And this word is true. Okay? Almost every word of it is specifically true. Some of it is allegory, some is parable, and some is poetry. But even the poetry has deep meaning. And one of the things this book talks about, mentioned several times, is the book of Enoch, or Enoch the prophet. And there is no book of Enoch in the Bible. It's been taken out. It's apocryphal, meaning it was once part of the scriptures, but now it's not considered reliable enough. But it's not reliable enough, but several people have quoted Enoch. And Enoch, I just read the book these last 7 days, specifically is an end times prophecy book. And that's the whole, and it's really kind of bizarre and interesting, because Enoch, I think, was before the flood. but he seems to be writing about the Son of Man and about Jesus and about all this stuff that happens now, and it's surprising. But he goes into stuff about angels, how like the angels came down and mixed with men, which is what the Bible says too, and that he talks about which specifically these angels were, what their names were. And what I've always known about the Bible is when you look up what the names mean, there's usually a hidden meaning within that story. And then they all end in El for Elohim, so something of God, like Azuriel, Sarael, whatever, like these really like wild names. And then he talks about like the 4 good angels, Michael, Gabriel, all of a sudden I'm about to name the the Ninja Turtles. All right, I'm gonna look it up. I don't want to say the wrong ones, but Enoch is also one of the sons of Reuben. Reuben had 4 sons: Carmi, Hanok, and Hanok is another way of saying Enoch, Phalu, and one other name that I have a harder time pronouncing. And I only know that because I'm a Reubenite, so I think about, oh, that's my tribe. And anyway, so the thing is, if you can't tell the difference between a lie and a truth, then it makes it hard to really know, is this true or is this not true? And can you discern the difference between a truth and a lie? And so, like I said, the scriptures are true. I'm going to get into the book of Revelation as we're finishing up these last chapters. And I'm going to talk about the book of Enoch because it was a really wild book. And I'm not going to talk about Enoch's book itself as much as just the people in the Bible who mention the book of Enoch, which made me think, oh, maybe there's something to it. I should look into it. So, again, that's it. Day 34 of Temple 420, year 2. Like and subscribe. Hit the like bell. We're going on Rumble too. I'm mostly just putting it on YouTube for right now, and I'm so glad they didn't strike me. They unstriked me. So, thanks for paying attention. Gracias para pagando atención. And somebody commented. 2 people commented last time. I just want to say, but Julie, my friend Julie from elementary school, who I love. She has the most beautiful smile. And she was one of the people who visited me on Robertson when I moved from Hollywood down towards South Beverly Hills. And so it was nice to see her then. It was nice. She said hi on here. We're friends on Facebook. And she's just someone that I have a lot of love for. And when I think of my daughter and I think of her, I think of my daughter because my daughter is also Julie. And some other person who I didn't know named Abraham is listening to us, and he didn't really ask me any questions. He just said he appreciated my storytelling, the way I connect different things, and he thought I was doing a good job, and he just wanted to compliment me. So thank you, Abraham. I appreciate you paying attention and listening and commenting, because it lets me know I'm not alone, and I'm not obviously the greatest preacher ever. or example, like I'm sure some parents wouldn't want their kids watching me to learn the Bible. But I think for some people, I speak your language, and I'm really just teaching this true word story. I'm trying to tell you stories about my own life, bringing stories from the real world with Candace Owens, Ben Shapiro, my buddy Evan Kobelson, who wants to be famous and has a radio show. The attorney Bruce Margolin, who I mentioned, the marijuana attorney. So I do mention Jewish people, just like Kanye West has mentioned specific Jewish people that I know in my life and that I care about. And if they're famous, I feel like I want to share their story somewhat so that you can learn from my experience knowing them, with them, so you know where I'm coming from. I think that's about it. Yeah. Anyways, thank you, Julie. Thank you, Abraham. I hope you watch again. I know There's only 7 of you who really watch religiously. I always get 7 views right away, and then it kind of peters out. So if you want to say hi, you want me to mention you, leave a comment, say don't mention me, ask a question. But I love and enjoy the feedback because it lets me know that actually someone is watching and cares. So thank you guys. Appreciate you. God bless, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.